Melanie's memory returned to Friday morning as she drove down the road. All she could think about was how happy Abby was whenever she came over in the mornings and joined her and her family for breakfast. The smell of buttered toast and fresh coffee filled the kitchen, wrapping the house warmly. Melanie's mom flipped pancakes on the stove, the faint clatter of dishes filling the space. At the table, Ethan inhaled his scrambled eggs at a dangerous speed. "Slow down, bud," their mom teased, shaking her head. "I have to eat fast so I can show Abby my science project," Ethan declared. Before Melanie could answer, the doorbell rang. Ding dong, that's probably her. Sure enough, Abby stood on the porch, hands buried in her hoodie pockets. "Morning, sweetheart," Melanie's mom greeted. "You want some breakfast?" Abby shrugged. "Sure." Melanie grinned at her from the table. Abby was practically family. Melanie's dad glanced up from his coffee. "How's everything going, kiddo?" Abby gave a small smile, busy. Same old, Ethan perked up immediately. "Abby, can you help me with my science project?" Abby smirked. "Only if I get half your bacon." Ethan gasped dramatically. "Not a chance." Laughter filled the kitchen. They had been happy. That was Friday morning. The memory shattered. A sharp honk from a passing car jolted Melanie back into the present. She sucked in a breath, gripping the steering wheel tighter. The warmth of Abby's laughter, the smell of pancakes, it was gone. Reality came rushing back, cold and unforgiving. Sophie turned from the window, voice quiet but firm. "We have to figure this out, tonight." Jamie nodded, still curled into herself. "We need to know what the hell just happened." Melanie exhaled, focusing on the road. Everything had changed, and they were running out of time. The hallways of Crestmore Preparatory buzzed with energy, students shuffling through their lockers, laughing and chatting as they moved toward the cafeteria. The distant chatter of teachers, the echo of slamming lockers, and the occasional squeak of sneakers on the tile floor filled the air. Sophie navigated through the crowd, making her way toward Abby's locker, their usual meeting spot before lunch. As she turned the corner, she spotted Abby, Melanie, and Jamie already waiting. "Finally," Jamie groaned, leaning dramatically against the locker beside Abby's. "What took you so long?" Sophie rolled her eyes. "Chill, I had to run to the library," Melanie smirked, nudging Abby. "Nerd alert," Sophie playfully shoved her. "You're lucky I love you." "I am lucky," Melanie teased, flipping her hair dramatically. Abby chuckled, shutting her locker and slinging her bag over her shoulder. "Okay, let's go. I'm starving." The four girls merged into the flow of students heading toward the cafeteria, their voices blending into the background noise as they continued their conversation. "Okay, so," Jamie said, "are we getting ready at someone's house? Or are we just showing up separately?" "We're getting ready together," Melanie said, rolling her eyes. "We need a coordinated vibe," Abby smirked. "We are not coordinating." "Fine," Melanie conceded, "but at least tell me what you're wearing so I can approve." Sophie raised an eyebrow. "You're not approving anything, Mel," Jamie smirked. "We all already know Sophie's showing up in ripped jeans and a cute top." "Because it works," Sophie said, unfazed. "Basic," Melanie teased. "Timeless," Sophie corrected, smirking. Abby shook her head. "I'm just wearing my black dress. Simple, easy, done." "Ooh," Melanie said approvingly. "Classic, but wait, heels or flats?" "Sneakers," Abby answered without hesitation. Jamie groaned. "Abby, come on." "Just once, do heels," Abby smirked. "Nope, not falling on my face tonight, thank you." Melanie sighed dramatically. "Fine, but I swear, one day I'm getting you in a pair of heels." They reached the cafeteria doors, and the smell of fries, pizza, and mystery meat immediately surrounded them. They grabbed their lunches, fries, pizza, fruit cups, and whatever else they could tolerate from the cafeteria menu, before making their way to their usual table near the back. As soon as they sat down, Jamie leaned in, elbows on the table. "Okay, now that we've established we're getting ready at Melanie's house, what's the actual game plan for tonight?" Sophie popped a fry into her mouth. "We show up, have fun, dance, simple." Jamie lifted an eyebrow. "Are we making moves, though?" Melanie smirked. "Ooh, Jamie's got a target." Jamie feigned innocence. "What?" "No," Abby narrowed her eyes. "Uh-huh. Sure." Jamie flipped her hair. "Look, all I'm saying is opportunities will be there, and I plan to take them." Sophie shook her head, laughing. "I'm just looking forward to dancing." "Same," Melanie said. "We get in, grab some drinks, and hit the floor. No stress." "And no drama," Abby added, pointing a fry at them. "None of that high school party disaster crap. We're where someone ends up crying in the bathroom or throwing up in the bushes. I just want to have fun, Jamie smirked. There's always one. Abby rolled her eyes but smiled anyway. Yeah, well, it's not going to be me. Sophie took a sip of her drink. Are we pre-gaming at Melanie's? A little, Melanie shrugged. Enough to loosen up, but not enough to be a mess. I call Oaks, Jamie announced. No one else is allowed to touch the playlist. Abby groaned. Jamie, if I hear one more late 2000s throwback. Jamie held up a hand. Early Chris Brown is essential at every function. Melanie laughed. Fine, but I get veto power. No repeats of Wall to Wall. Sophie smiled to herself, soaking in the moment. This was them. This was their normal. The four of them together, making plans, teasing each other, looking forward to something. Then, as she glanced toward the cafeteria doors, her stomach dropped. Giveon had just walked in, and he wasn't alone. Dianna was right beside him, her red curls bouncing as she laughed at something he whispered in her ear. They moved together effortlessly, like a new couple that had nothing to hide. Sophie felt her jaw tighten. Abby, who had been casually picking at her food, hadn't noticed yet, but Sophie knew she would. And sure enough, as Giveon and Dianna moved further into the cafeteria, Abby's gaze lifted just in time to see them. For a moment, her entire expression shut down. No flash of anger, no tears, just nothing. Sophie hated that look, like she was tired of feeling anything at all. Then it happened. Giveon saw Abby staring, and instead of ignoring it, or better yet, having the decency to walk the other way, he smirked. And then he started walking toward them. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Sophie glanced at Melanie and Jamie, who had both noticed him approaching. Jamie looked like she was ready to roll her eyes into the next dimension, while Melanie was already bracing for whatever drama was about to unfold. Abby, however, just sighed. Giveon stopped at their table, hands in his pockets, looking way too casual for someone who had done what he did. Abby, he said smoothly, can we talk in private? Abby's expression remained unreadable as she stabbed at a fry with her fork. Not now, Giveon. It'll just take a minute. I said not now. She finally looked up at him. I'm sure you have what you wanted, and you don't need to bother me anymore. Sophie held her breath. She knew Abby was trying to stay calm, but there was a sharpness to her tone, a quiet finality that told Giveon exactly where he stood. And for a second, it looked like he might back off. But instead, he let out a scoff, shaking his head. So that's it, huh? Sophie felt her irritation spike. He was acting like he was the one who got hurt, like he was the victim. Before Abby could respond, Sophie spoke up. Giveon, just leave. Her tone was firm but polite, keeping her voice steady. There's no reason for this. Giveon's gaze snapped to her. His smirk dropped. Oh, I see how it is, he said, crossing his arms. You're still in her ear, huh? Still talking crap about me? Sophie frowned. No one's talking crap about you. Abby asked you to leave, so respect that. Giveon let out a bitter laugh, his whole demeanor shifting. Right, because you've never had a problem with me. Huh, Sophie? Jamie immediately tensed beside her, her hand curling into a fist under the table. Melanie looked ready to intervene, but Sophie didn't back down. This isn't about me, she said coolly. It's about Abby, and she doesn't want to talk to you. Giveon's eyes darkened. Funny how you always got something to say, but you don't know a damn thing about what went down between me and Abby. Abby exhaled sharply. Giveon stopped. Giveon ignored her, eyes locked onto Sophie. You act like you're all righteous, like you know everything, but let's be real, you don't know half of it. Sophie felt a heat rise in her chest, but she refused to react. Giveon was trying to bait her, trying to make her the bad guy. And honestly, she wasn't going to give him the satisfaction. I don't need to know half of it, she said calmly. I know enough. And what I know is Abby doesn't want to talk to you, so leave.